Okay, so I have been up all night watching the news. And I don't know if you guys have been following this, but Croc committed suicide. Yes, that Croc. Croc as seen in Croc Legend of the Gobbos for the PlayStation 1. And as you may know, Croc used to be kind of a big deal. He used to play with the best of them. He used to play with Mario and Crash. He was a greatest hit. Yeah, Croc was on top of the world. But then, the opportunities started to dry up. Yeah, Croc didn't get work anymore. He got Croc 2, Croc for Game Boy. That's it. Croc was through. Croc was all washed up. And you know, that wasn't that bad. He still had a beautiful wife and a loving family. But then, he played Super Mario Galaxy. And he was crushed. His big competitor, Super Mario, had excelled beyond anyone's wildest expectations, and Croc knew he could no longer compete. Even if he were to get work, he would be unable to match Mario's level of awesome. And unfortunately, at 3:30 a.m. last night, Croc decided it was time to call it quits. He was found in his Croc bed with a cocktail of Vicodin and Viagra. He had turned his wife into a purse and his kids into shoes, and then took his own life. You could say, game over. But I am not here to, oh, that's good coffee. I am not here to talk about Croc's death. I am here to celebrate his life in Croc Legend of the Gobbos. In the late 90s, gaming was all about platforming, and platforming was all about cute characters. There are so many of these ridiculously cute characters that it's almost impossible to count them all. And Croc? Well, he kinda just blended in. He's just a generic anthropomorphic crocodile. There's really not much to say about him. Sure, he's cute-ish, but he's boring, he's bland. He doesn't stick out at all. However, his game is really good. And I'm not even kidding, this is one of the best platformers on the PlayStation, if not the single best platformer on the PlayStation. It plays like a lot of 3D platformers. The main objective is simply to get to the end of each stage, but along the way you can collect tons of crazy little gizmos and gadgets to increase your score and unlock secret levels. And this makes for a lot of gameplay time. It takes forever to scour these levels to find these things. You have to collect crystal coconuts, and rainbow crystal coconuts, and Gobbos. Yeah, you gotta rescue these little guys called Gobbos. These are Croc's friends, and the evil Baron of somethingness wants to kidnap them for some reason. That storyline's not very good. I think he also said something about Croc being an orphan and being taken in by these little fuzzballs. And yeah, I don't know where they were going with this one. You get your basic levels, you got your grass, you got your desert, you got your water, it's all there. Now the thing that makes it kind of different, though, is the actual design itself. The levels are just laid out very bare bones basic. There's no crazy mountains or twisting paths. There's just basically huge square rooms with little platforms to jump on. And this actually creates quite a bit of challenge. These platforms are always small, sometimes they move, sometimes they break. It feels more like an old school platformer where it wasn't so much about tying the design to the environment so much as the environment being a skin over the design, if you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to explain. Basically, in short, the platforms don't need to relate to anything. They don't need to be connected in any way. They can just float in the air willy-nilly, and your goal is to get to the top. And this is fun. I enjoy this. It's bare bones, and it's cool. The enemies are kind of dumb. They're just kind of like cartoony demons and jesters and stuff like that. And Croc can destroy pretty much anything with a simple tail whack, and the hitbox is huge and forgiving. So it's almost like they didn't even need enemies. They're such a non-issue for Croc. Because, you know, Croc is like a total badass, apparently, right? The bosses don't fare much better. They're all super easy. You just use a basic tactic of either knocking them down and ground pounding them, or simply just tail whacking them when they're tired. There's nothing to write home about here. Maybe it's just all in my head or whatever, but I love the atmosphere of this game. I like the kind of lazy afternoon kind of feeling it gives off with the music and the environments. It all kind of meshes together in a really cool way, as in you can just sit back and relax with Croc. You don't need to be pressured or stressful. You just had a rough day at work. You can come home and you can relax with Croc. He will take care of you. He will massage your back, massage your feet, and he will lick your face. Well, maybe he won't lick your face. There are a lot of cool obstacles in this game. Croc can bounce on gelatin and ride on balloons. He can grapple, like Mario did in Mario 64. Croc can swim, but not very well, surprisingly, considering he's a crocodile and all. Actually, these parts are completely terrible. I have no idea how to control the swimming. It just seems to go at random, where you kind of want it to go, I guess. Croc is slow, and you can hold the A button for kind of a constant swim, or you can keep tapping it for a stroke. This is the same as in Mario 64, but it's really hard to angle which way Croc is going. But you know, that actually continues into the main game as well, on land, because my one big problem with Croc comes from the analog control, or lack thereof. The thing is, Croc has tank controls. Have you played Resident Evil? Do you know what that's like? Try platforming with it. Yeah, it kinda sucks a little bit. I mean, you get used to it and then it becomes second nature after a while, but you never really feel like Croc has fluid movement. You have to turn him in the direction you want to go and then press forward. If you press backwards, he doesn't just turn around and start running that way. No, he backs up like a truck. And if you have the DualShock controller, which I'm sure most of you do, you can turn on the analog, and that makes it a little bit better, but it's still not what you want. It's not what you're expecting. And that's a shame. It's the one big thing holding this game back from true greatness. I have trouble running past slow-ass zombies in Resident Evil with this control scheme. So it becomes a chore sometimes to try to jump over lava pits and dodge fireballs, especially in the later levels. And that's the thing, like, Croc's difficulty isn't very high if you're just trying to beat the game, but if you're trying to collect everything, oh my god, this is a challenge. This game is brutal. I only ever managed to clear the first 3 worlds, and that, it was a headache and a half, man. Now, if you're up for a platforming challenge, this game has it for you. And if you want just to run through a game and have some fun, this game's got that base covered too. So really, there's no reason not to play Croc. And you know what else? The graphics are gorgeous. I know it's not photorealistic like Resident Evil 2, and it's not as cool as Final Fantasy 7, but the cartoony graphics work perfectly for the game. The textures are cool, the lighting is amazing. Just look at the Fight Night with Flippy level. Look how the different color lights shine off Croc's body. Man, that's really good. I think I know what this evil Baron guy wants with these Gobbos. Are you guys familiar with Richard Gere and the urban legend surrounding him regarding the gerbil? The alleged gerbling. Well, these Gobbos are small and furry, and he's a very large reptilian baron monster thing. What if he were to grab these Gobbos and Gobbo, so to speak? Think about it. Yeah. Anyway, in case the oodles of praise I've been giving this game haven't been enough for you, I'm just going to sum it all up. You must play Croc if you're into platformers. Croc is a great example of the genre. Don't be turned off by the generic cutesy mascot. It is a fun, solid adventure. And now that Croc has died, I think it's all the more reason to revisit it if you've already played it. And Croc, wherever you are right now, probably down there, I love you, Croc. And I know you didn't have the opportunity that Mario had. You did not get to go to space. You did not get to go to Isle Delfino. You only got Croc 2. And I know Croc 2 was underwhelming. And that is what happened. It's not your fault, Croc. It's Argonaut Software's fault. It's Fox Interactive's fault. Croc, you are the man. And you will always be a god among mascot characters to me and a few other people that might agree with me. And now, let us give Croc a moment of silence. That's good enough. Now, Croc is naked, except for his backpack. Like Banjo-Kazooie, he wore shorts. Croc? No. Croc is too cool for shorts. He's too cool for socks, shoes, shirts. But the backpack, he knows he needs to cover that bit of his back. He knows he needs to carry things. Croc is all about function over fashion. And that... Where am I going with this?